recently passed my 3-year work anniversary, with JustLeadershipUSA, which is a nonprofit organization based out of New York that is one of the only organizations in the country that's both founded by and led by formerly incarcerated people, specifically doing criminal justice reform work. Specifically, what JLUSA does is leadership development, working with formerly incarcerated and justice-impacted leaders. And I was encouraged to do sort of a update video. I did a, day one on the job video. Now it's been 3 years. What have I learned? What has the experience been like? First of all, the organization is phenomenal. Not everyone on staff, such as myself, is formerly incarcerated. I would say, in some way, shape, or form, we're all justice impacted. But not, some are much more closely with direct family members who have been touched by the criminal legal system in this country. We say that 70 plus million people, we don't just say this, this is a fact. Up close to 100 million people in this country will have some arrest, conviction, or, incarceration record. That's 1 in 3 working age adults soon, if not already, which is an incredible statistic if you then think about the incredible prejudice that so many people in this country still have. And this is a big part of my job, and a part of my job that I take very seriously, and probably the part of my job that I'm the most passionate about, which is shifting the narrative and trying to get people to change how they view formerly incarcerated people. We have come a long way, some would argue, in how we view LGBTQ people in this country. In terms of legal, the ability to marry, obviously there's still strong opposition and pushback. But let me tell you where this conversation really hasn't happened yet. Not for lack of trying. The formerly incarcerated folks have been talking about this and doing this work for a long time. But we got to use people first language, y'all. And even getting the media to use people first language is challenging. The Associated Press updated their style book last year, which was a huge victory. Associated Press doesn't even follow their own style book consistently, as far as I can tell. They still use terms like felon and convict, and you'll see, some really ridiculous, ex-offenders, just language that just brands people for the rest of their life for something that happened to them. In many cases, the worst decision that they ever made. Some of the stories are just heartbreaking, and until you hear them, it's easy to judge, and it's easy to just marginalize a whole group. We're talking tens of millions of people, y'all. And so many people in this country just assume they just have this, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime mentality. And that's just BS. Who among us hasn't made a mistake and aren't just damn lucky that it didn't lead to something awful happening and leading to us being convicted? You talk about the war on drugs, you talk about drinking, there's so many things that are mental health related, addiction related. Think about yourself now, and y'all, none of us is perfect. And how is it that we cannot have grace and we cannot have just compassion for people who have gone through, some of the worst experiences in life that you can have? Prison is not a joke. Prison is dehumanizing. It is an awful, awful experience. The conditions are awful. One of the things we talk about is extreme heat in prisons that don't have air conditioning in the South, in freaking Texas. Y'all, this is happening, and people are dying of heat stroke in prison. Now, here's the other thing. When people are sentenced to a term of incarceration, they are sentenced by the judge into the care of the state, meaning the state is required to take care of people, and it's not happening. Most of these prison conditions are, the food is bad, it's maggot ridden, the heat and just everything is awful. There's so many things wrong with our prison system. But getting back to, what happens when people come home, 95% of the people, something like 600,000 people this year, will come home to their communities from after a period of incarceration. And what are we doing to reintegrate these people into their communities, into our society, to help them be contributing members of society? I mean, y'all, it's left to the nonprofit world, to this whole reentry and wraparound services and, the folks that are just scraping by to help the least of these. So many people coming out of incarceration are just the barriers, 44,000 collateral consequences, laws that are on the books to keep these people from being able to get jobs, get housing, get further education, get health care. These are basic human needs. And if you care about people, you gotta care about formerly incarcerated people. You gotta care about what's happening in our country. The war on drugs was awful. And, with all of the changes that are happening in our federal and state governments right now, mass incarceration just seems to be the answer once again. And it's not. It's not. We need to be shutting down prisons and redirecting money to mental health services and so many other things. And the prison systems that we have need to be improved. The conditions for both the prisoners and the people working in them need to be humane and workable, livable conditions. So, I don't know. I've been rambling a lot. It's just kind of a brain dump. I've been thinking about this since I was asked to, do this video. But let me tell you, like I said before, there is just such a stigma in our country, and this is what I would love to be able to spend more time doing. And maybe if JustLeadershipUSA gets the financial support to do it, we will be able to do it. Is work with entertainment, movies, television, Hollywood, podcasts, you name it. Y'all, the military, the police unions, the FBI, they spend millions of dollars a year funding Hollywood to get their narrative out there. We got to do the same. We got to shift the narrative so that the crime storylines are not all negative and painting people in the worst possible light and making cops and FBI agents and military, the heroes. So, all right, that's what I got. Any questions?